I just finished Filipino filmmaker Lav Diaz's latest film, Magellan, and looking down my notes, I see circled and underlined on top of the page the words, "So much life ended." That was the most lasting impression the film made. So much termination of life, almost all of it deliberately inflicted. Not the act itself, Love Diaz is never explicit, but the consequence of the act, the either sprawled on a beach or draped over rocks or curled tight like injured maggots, often with an exhausted or resigned expression on the face, at times elaborately drizzled with a thick peri-peri sauce, corpse after corpse after corpse. So many, the soldiers don't even try burying or burning the bodies, but instead swig wine to dull the misery. Maybe Diaz isn't trying to say something other than this is everywhere. Uh, it comes in all forms. It gives rise to every consequence, from vengeance quests to military reprisals to international conflicts to, and this is strangest of all, a unique and private peace. Some of the bodies show a serenity and lack of suffering they never had when they were alive. One wonders what Diaz himself thinks of the end of life, if he seems to obsess with its depiction on the big screen. The film is actually a first for Diaz. Previously, he's devoted himself to telling the Philippine experience, at most in films like Batang West Side, the Filipino American experience. With this feature, Diaz focuses on Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, an important figure in Filipino history, not so much for discovering the Philippines as for uh, pointing the direction of the existence of the Philippines to King Carlos for his eventual exploitation. In short, Magellan, played by Gael Garcia Bernal, is a calamity waiting to happen to the Philippines. He wreaks havoc on the Malaccas first, where the local defense is merely near naked men and women raising their hands to the sky and pleading with their gods while he mows them down en masse. Watches his boss, Governor Alfonso de Albuquerque, played by Roger Allen Cosa, deliver a rambling megalomaniac rant. "We will prepare for the second coming. We will suffocate the whole world," before collapsing, then sips wine over the governor's prone body. He acquires an indentured servant named Enrique, played by Amado R.J. Bobon, a beautiful wife heavy with child named Beatriz, played by Angel Azevedo, a new patron in King Carlos, played by Victor Chesney, and five ships to find a new path to the Spice Islands, uh, west as opposed to east, circumventing Africa, India, China, and his former patron, King Manuel of Portugal, played by Daniel Viana. If you think Magellan was a brutal son of a bitch commanding troops on land, you should see him on a ship. He enforces discipline with a heavy hand, suppresses mutinies by forcing one mutineer to lop the head off the other mutineer, otherwise, he'll lop them both off. Overall, gives you the impression that the ship, especially one that's expected to cross the ocean in a few days, instead, the journey stretches out to 3 long and endless months. This ship is basically a vast bowl of concentrated torment, all shivers and sores and simmering anger, sicknesses physical and mental. All of this bowl, headed slowly but inexorably west to contaminate what we now call Southeast Asia. Visually, the film, the rare recent Diaz in color, is a striking example of heightened verite. Lockdown camera setups capture corners and intersections of Portuguese streets or Malaccan village trails. Figures are lit sideways, edged with a warm sunset glow. The footage aboard the Trinidad is particularly extraordinary. Diaz managed to snag himself a full-size galleon, and you hear the creak of the planks, the wind whistling off the lines, the snap of the sails filling with wind. The film at 160 minutes is easily the most accessible and commercial film Love has made yet. But is it still a love film? I think so. I think love is measured not by the length of his work, but by the pace and aesthetics of his films, and this is recognizably love. The leisurely way the film tells its story, the long silences, the heavy stillnesses, the gorgeous static compositions and contemplative feel. The film will be showing at the New York Film Festival if you want to see the festival website for details. And the full article, of which this is just an excerpt of, is at my website, criticafterdark at blogspot.com. That's criticafterdark at blogspot.com. Thanks.